Heyo, welcome to Get Good. This is a new series where I'm basically going to start practicing, my art skills and trying to refine them and just get better. I'm in college, I'm going to school for art, I am touching up on a lot of things, and I figured why not share the education, share the wealth. So you can draw with me and practice with me, or at least just doodle, at least doodle with me. Because, every time you watch a drawing video and you don't doodle, at least doodle. You don't have to draw what they're drawing, but if you don't doodle something, some grandmaster wizard's gonna get struck by lightning in the forest and fucking die. That's not cool. So draw with me, or, at least get a kick out of me struggling, seeing my bad art that's not polished, Don't leave this video unentertained, I guess is what I'm saying. Okay, so I'm gonna go over some basics, tips, some important things, just like a refresh, and then I'm gonna show you how you can implement them and ways to practice in order to get better. If you're anything like me, motivation is far and in between, so it's hard to get better at your art and consistently go at it. So look out for yourself and show up for yourself, because nobody else is going to. Only you know your boundaries. First beginner tip is the rubber band technique, which is basically the elbows and the knees, pretending that there's a little string connecting them, kind of like the Leonardo da Vinci thing, so it helps with tension. The second tip is for proportions, which is the box, which is drawing a box, drawing your thing, and then helping, expanding the box, so it helps you with your proportions and just drawing from your eye. And the third tip is drawing with a reference, because there's nothing wrong with that. You shouldn't draw with a reference all the time, but if you want a reference, use a reference. References are just guides to build off of, to give you ideas, okay? And as long as you credit, you know what? It's just being used for your training, young Padawan. The first most important thing that we're going to talk about is the line of action. The line of action is basically this main line. It's kind of acts like a guideline, and it helps, especially when you're drawing without a reference. So if you're somebody who wants to make their own poses or draw their own characters from their head, gesture drawing and also really getting in tune and connected with that line of action is going to help you with wondrously. It's a great tool to help you in the direction of movement, like how your character is moving and which way they would be turning, or the shift of their movement. It'll help your compositions be less stiff, more organic, a little bit more fluid, or just more fun, more lively. And at the end of the day, that's what you want. You want a lively drawing. The second thing I'm talking about is kind of like a group of things. So it's your drawing style. Whoa, hey there, I didn't say art style. It said drawing style. So let me grab you little sardines, the little boys, and put you right back in your tin. You're not going nowhere. It's the forms and shapes that you're drawing. So first of all, right off the bat, drawing style. You've seen me earlier drawing those two triangles that touch tips. Tip touchers! They basically, that's the torso and the waist, and then I just draw little stick figure arms and legs with circle joints, and that's how I draw. That's my drawing style, and that's basically the simplest form and the simplest shapes I draw in order to make up a form of a figure. Now, I personally never recommend anybody using the Loomis method, or where you stack 8 heads and that's how tall your person is. But saying the line of action is a guideline is kind of easier to explain using those things, because it's the line of action can be your guideline for the top of the head and the bottom of the shoes, when you mark it. So if you do a little indent or a little indication or something, that's what I mean by guideline. Does that make sense? Sorry, I feel like I went on way too much of a ramble. I'll move on. So your drawing style really has no true indication on whether or not you're a good artist. It's just how you get your thoughts from your head to the paper. Just the easiest, quickest way. Because drawing a lot is the fastest way to get feedback and results quickly. And so that's why it's just easier if you have your own specific way of doing things, because then you can just do it and you can get it over with. And this helps you when you have a little default way of doing things. It helps you draw, consume, and create, and draw again. Because that's what we want you to do. We want you to draw you have this insatiable hunger to create. And then we want you to consume not your paint water, and we want you to create magnificent art, and we want you to draw. That is what it is. Basically, the more you draw, the easier it's gonna get. And over time, you're gonna be able to break down a figure really easily with only a couple lines, and it's gonna look great. But until then, just do what you can. Just make sure you're comfortable, and just do whatever feels right for you. And don't let anybody bother you, and just focus on what's easiest for you. Now, anatomy is a pretty core concept when learning how to draw. It's one of the main things people draw because the human figure is such a enticing concept and subject to draw. And some of you, I'm going to blow your mind, and some of you are going to get very angry with me, and some of you are going to think that I'm boring. Okay, but anatomy and gesture are different, and I have to tell you that. Gesture is way more expressive, way more lively, way more fluid. Anatomy is so much more logical. It's so much more structured and rigid. It's so much more like you have to kind of get it to look like the correct form. And where gesture, it's all about that movement. It's all about that expression. It's all about that the double the Z, double the flavor. You know what I mean? And that's why they say to start with a gesture as your sketch, because you can get a really expressive, really loose, fun, lively, not stiff, very organic sketch. And then you can start to dress your form, which is basically, okay, well, now you're going to tighten that gesture sketch up. You're going to make it a little bit more anatomical. Maybe you're going to slap a face on. Maybe you're going to start thinking it's your character's body, okay? Right? And then once you dress your form, then you can dress your character and stuff like that. And it's important to not skip over. I know you want to draw the fun stuff. But nothing will stand without a good structure, without a good base. You have to take care of, your ground floor. Otherwise, the rest of the building will collapse. So that was my quick, fast, easy how-to on anatomy. And hopefully, that was helpful if you're a beginner, and if you're more than a beginner, hopefully that was a cool, quick rundown. So I want to talk a little bit about my process, but I think I'm going to start with just a few exercises you can do to help improve, your anatomy and drawing your form. And these are the things that I do as well, so don't feel as if that I don't do them. I do, I promise. My first exercise is just a perspective exercise, but not only is it going to help with your perspective and your proportions and your shape, but it's also going to help bring all of your anatomy together, because let's say you're just drawing, I just want you to draw simple shapes like cylinders, spheres, rectangles, triangles, stuff like that, right? And I just want you to draw them at different angles, different perspectives, different lenses even, just every angle, every silly filter you can get. And it's gonna really help you, because when you go to draw a form, foreshortening, when the hand is bigger if it's closer to the camera and the body's smaller because it's farther away, that foreshortening, it's gonna come super in handy with knowing those quick perspective skills that you're gonna be able to pull out no matter where you are. Second exercise is practicing your gesture again and your life drawing again, just because it is just so important. It's gonna help you with literally everything. Doing gesture just makes my anatomy better because they just go hand in hand with each other. So please get a life drawing class if you can. It's so good. Personally, get over whatever ick you have of seeing somebody else naked, because doing a nude life drawing event will change your life artistically. It just helps so much with the form and the figure, and just seeing how everything moves in the shape and the muscle. It's the coherence of everything. It's all connected. You know what I mean? So it moves correctly. It's just interesting to watch. So really look out for those. Even still lives can help with your anatomy, because you're still drawing from life, A, and B, still trying to get the correct form of whatever subject you're looking at, whatever subject matter you're drawing. you're still looking at it from life and drawing it and trying to recreate it and materialize it how you see it onto this piece of paper. Now, my process is really simple because it's just finding shapes and breaking them down and trying to get them to like mirror almost like what I'm looking at, or like match what I'm looking at. You know, I'm drawing this subject, you know what I mean? So, but it's not the best because it's not always the most proportionate. So I have to like use these tips as well and implement them into my own drawing routine. And that's something I have a lot of trouble with too, because like I hate drawing new ways, and I'm so sketchy. I'm not a very clean line sketcher, so I want to try and get cleaner with my sketches as well. Okay, and that's my basic rundown on anatomy. If you want me to do a real-time video where I go through my process, because these are kind of old, and I did do stuff for my visual storytelling class. By the way, I also want to take this time to plug my Ko-Fi, because yes, before you go, let me just plug, please. Listen, you can tip, but you don't have to. And I'm going to be posting sketches, art. There's a blog there that I want to use. I want to have my websites all in one place. It's going to be free, okay? Like, you can pay for things, but there's also stuff on there that you can see that's free, that's not paywalled, okay? So the next episode of Get Good will be expressions, and I don't know if that's going to be the next video or the video after, but stay tuned.